Hi guys, welcome to part 2 of our blue and white porcelain inspired embroidery. For those of you that this is your first video here, welcome. You might be here to just maybe have a look at doing this one particular small embroidery. If that's the case, I encourage you to look obviously at part 1, which explains exactly how we get here. This is also part of a sample stitch book. This is a centre panel of the first page. So if you're interested in looking at that, again, look at the channel, at the YouTube channel, and you will find information about that. There's also videos for every single one of the stitches that we are using here today. Okay, so the setup and everything is all explained in part 1. I will just quietly talk about the threads we're using. These are Dye-to-Craft threads. These are my own threads that I naturally hand dye. They're a merino 2-ply wool. This is obviously, well, not obviously, but this is the indigo range. We have a dark, medium and light blue. Now light blue is normally a little bit lighter than this, but for the video recording purposes I've dyed this one just slightly darker. We've got also going to be using today, we've got natural white. We're also going to be using today, these threads were dyed with oak and then dyed with indigo over the top. And I'm just going to use those at the end for a little bit of foliage. So if you're interested in these threads, you can go to, there's a link to my Etsy shop, and they're available there. And if not, you can use any other wool embroidery threads that you find, or maybe a Pearl 5 cotton, something fairly thick to go over our lines. Alright, so we got a lot done last video, a lot of our, building work, I suppose you could say. So the first thing I'm going to do today is just some of our outlines. And I've gone for the light indigo blue. And I'm just going to do some little straight stitches here. We'll go across the top first. So we're just doing some straight stitches. One stitch down in between those little grooves, and then on the two ends. Okay, I'm now going to move to this outside wall, and down these walls, they're a bit too long really to be doing just a plain straight stitch, so I'm going to do some split stitching. So this will give us a nice continuous line that doesn't have the brick effect that the back stitches did. So we come back up in the middle and split the previous stitch. As I said before, there is actually a video on the channel which tells you how to do this stitch. And we're just going to continue down the line with our split stitch. So I'm going to do these two lines on the outside, and then this bottom line and this line of these. So our sides and just the bottom of here. And I'll come back to you when that's finished and we'll move on to the next bit. Okay, we're back. As you can see, we've got our straight stitches up here, then I've done split stitches around these outlines here. So the next thing we're going to work on is the roof. Now the first thing I'm going to do with the roof is do an outline of split stitching, but only across the bottom of these roofs. So we'll start there again I'm going to do a split stitch. Okay, so we're coming up through the middle. Since we're getting a bit more shadow at the moment, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing these split stitches all the way down across and up to this spot. Then I'm going to do the same for this roof, and then the same for these two, just the bottom section. Now the reason why we're doing that is because we're going to be doing some straight stitches coming down this way, but we're going to need to slowly ease them out so that we end up on an angle. So what this means is the top's going to be a bit closer together, but then the bottoms are going to be eased out. By doing this line of outline is going to provide two things. One, it's going to mean that when there's spaces in between the bottom, we can not see white, we'll see this instead, so it will blend in easier. There's nothing worse than a bit of white popping out to really, in amongst dark blues, that to really, you know, show us a spot. And then the other thing is it will raise this part of your roof up over this section here and this section here, so it will look like you've got a bit more of a two-dimensional effect. So that's what we're working on now. I'll finish doing these outlines in split stitch and get back to you after that. Okay, so I've come back. I've done the outlining for all of these roofs. Now we're going to get on to actually do the roofs. Now I have two needles threaded up, dark blue and the mid blue. We'll start with the dark blue. Might help if I have a knot going. Alright, so we're going to start in the middle. Oops. If I can get that right. Might move over just a little bit more. Alright. And we're going to do a straight stitch all the way down, and we're going to go over the top of this outlining. Come down there. Okay, so then I'm going to go, we're going to do alternate straight stitches. So come up next to it. Oops. Okay, would help if I put a knot in the bottom. Okay, come up next to it. And again, come down over the top. Go back to our dark blue. We shall do another straight stitch. And again, change to Okay, so as you can see, we've done alternate straight lines all the way across, always going over this blue line here. Now we're just going to start just very, very slightly angling them this way. So really, you're not leaving any great big spaces at the bottom. You're just going to sort of shove the top just a little bit closer to the previous stitch than what you do at the bottom. So just so we can slightly get it to angle out. So I said, nothing too major. We're not making it, you know, a massive statement. It's just about a slight slant that is going to go build up as we go along. So the top I'm putting as close to as possible the previous stitch, whereas the bottom giving it just a little bit more space to breathe. I mean, you can barely notice anything at the moment. So again, we're going very close at the top. I hope you can see that. And then a little bit more space at the bottom to breathe. Some very small stitches done now. Maybe just one more. Sorry, I think I'm just moving this hoop closer and closer to me, which maybe isn't helping you, but there we go. So as you can see, this is now sort of very, whoops, I lost a light there. I'll have to fix that in a minute. We've now slanted out just a little bit, still doing alternate, still going over the top. We've come to the end. So I'm going to do the same thing along this way. I'm going to do the same thing up here, and this one I'm going to start straight and then go right from the edge and then flare out on this side. So of course your flare will go that way. So I will finish those off and come back to you with them finished so that you can see exactly how it looks. Okay, so we have all our roofs tops finished. As you can see, I've angled out, tried to do the same amount of angling on each side. The only other tip I would give is try and finish each side with the same colour so that it sort of looks even. So now we're going to do a little bit of outlining again. So I'm going to start with these curves, do a split stitch just on the curves, not the centre sections, and across the top here. And for that we're going to use a split stitch again. So this is sort of the capping on top of the roof that we're going to do. Roof capping, and it'll help even up some of sorry, I'm finishing half sentence. Some of those edges and make them look a bit neater as well. So it's just a case of following your curve, doing your split stitch, again there are videos on the website for all these stitches, so if you're not sure exactly what I'm doing, go back and have a look at those. Okay, so I'll keep going with this. We're going to, like I said, do the 2 curves on each side and these 2 sections here, and I'll come back for the next bit. Okay, so I've finished doing the capping. I've actually gone on and finished it all, so I'll just quickly go over what we've done. So we have split stitch in our dark blue here and here. I've then done a split stitch for this piece here. Now when you're doing these curves, just use very small stitches, and if you find that the stitches are looking a little bit straightish, not curvy, a bit more cornerish, you can always use, as you come up to split the stitch for your next stitch, you can always use that to drag it, the last stitch, into a bit of a curve. So have a play and try and get those as curved as possible. And then we've got some more split stitch, but that's been done in the light blue over the top there. So that's those. The next thing we're going to do are our stairs. So I have got, again, 2 needles, a dark and a medium. I'll start with the medium, and we're just going to do some straight stitches in alternate colours. Okay, so we've done all medium blue. We'll now go to our darker blue. Dark blue. Now with the next step, I haven't really drawn it this way, but this is what you really need to do, is maybe just go out a little bit wider. Maybe just that's not sitting very well. And that'll just make it look a bit more like it's a step going down. Now you want to finish on a darker blue. Yeah. And that's our steps. Alright, now I'll finish those off in a minute. But while you're here, I'm just going to show you, I've got that's the medium blue there, I think. And I'm just going to do I don't know, I'm making this one up as we go along, but I want something to look a little bit like the little round Asian lanterns that we see around quite a lot. So done a little straight stitch, and then come up as if you were doing a split into that stitch, and what, oops, got a bit tangled here, let me just, because I haven't tied those off yet. Now we're just going to do a chain, just a single chain stitch. But I don't want you to pull too tightly on this. I want it to sit on top of the brickwork, quite open, so it looks more like a little circle. And then we'll go down. There we go. I don't know. We might actually, because those lanterns have a bit of a frill at the bottom, we might just come up and do a second little stitch there. There we go, it's our little round lantern. It's not perfect, but it just gives you the illusion of one. So I'm going to do one in each one of those. We've done our steps and we're looking pretty well good. We're nearly finished. I'm just going to come back with a little bit of foliage to finish it off at the front and soften the edges. Okay, so I've moved on a little bit from the last section. We've done the three lanterns up here, or just in, you know, a slight look of lanterns. We've got another two here hanging down, just to give a bit more of an Asian feel to the house. And I think you'll find a lot of the houses in the white, blue and white porcelain have those features. So now we're working on just some little bits of bush, basically, to go round. Now this is where you are going to play with being creative. There is no right or wrong way of doing this. There is no right or wrong amount of greenery that you want to put. You can do very little, you can do a lot, you can do none, you can make your bushes really tall, you can make them really small. It's really, really up to you. You can make them just do one-offs here and there, making it look a bit more like grass. This is for you to be a little creative and learn to just play with your embroidery, because there's no point doing embroidery if you don't feel comfortable having a play and feeling confident in your own creativity. So that's what this is. So these little bushes are just made up of some chain stitches. So I'm going to do one that sort of comes up here. This one come up a little bit taller than the others. So we're going to do a chain stitch. And come down. I do one that goes over the door a little. Front of the door. Like I said, there's no right or wrong. This is really totally up to you. And just remember, if you don't like it, undo it and have another go. There is absolutely nothing to be scared of. And you will find that if you just keep pushing things around, and think of a bush where the leaves are sort of pointing out and up and around. So, I forgot to mention these threads that I'm using. These are the oak and indigo dyed. So they're still in the blue range, but they just have a little sneak of green through them as well, which stands out quite well against the blue without it being detracting. So that was the dark colour. Now I'm going to use a lighter one and build up a few more. And again, it is just about which way shall we go? Start here, building the bush up as you go along until you're happy, until you feel that that's enough and it feels good for you. Alright, so that's sort of that little bush done. I'll do one or two more along here and come back for the final piece. We've nearly finished, guys. Okay, so I hope you've had a little bit of fun being creative and having a play. I hope it wasn't too stressful for you. But honestly, there's, again, no right or wrong. Just have fun and finish off when you're ready. Like, no pressure. So this is where I think I'm going to finish with the bits of foliage. Now again, you could have gone all the way around and up and as much as you want, up to you. This is sort of where I'm going to stop now. So I'm just going to do some final random little seed stitches around here just to sort of give the illusion of a bit of dirt, a bit of pathway. Like, it's really not anything too major. It's just, and again, this is sort of the pathway coming down. Again, totally up to you. You might not want to do this. You might have decided that you're quite happy with the other look. Oh, I don't want to. See, look, now I can't make up my mind. I'm telling you guys to be confident and play, and then I'm sort of acting like an idiot, being indecisive, but that's okay too. There's no right or wrong. It's all about a bit of fun. Alright, I think I'll leave that there. And now we're finished. So I hope you've enjoyed working on this embroidery with me. For those of you that are interested in the sample stitch book, next week we'll be looking at how to basically put our first page together. This is the centre of it, and then the pieces that we've done previously will go around it, and we'll work on that. Okay, thanks guys.